Alrighty, let's have a little look here. Pop chat out, bring you over to the side here. Then we want to make sure I've also got, where is my chat log? Bring you across here, lovely stuff. And our event log, bring you across, and there we go. Now, other little bit. Let's get some music. Synthwave time. So, right. Got some chill tunes on, which I'm hoping, yep, they're coming through. Lovely. And right, I think we seem like we're good enough position to start things. So, howdy, we are back painting tonight, and we're continuing the work we started with our Kasrkin. So I'm going to bring them across and show you what we've got done thus far, so that I can show you what we're doing next. So this here, this is the camo pattern we've painted. You can see there, nice little woodland camo on it. We are going to be painting these here tonight, and these are the arms. Where does General keep his armies? Up his sleeves. Oh, better close the door actually. Just realized it's still open. So, right. What are we painting with tonight? Well, we'll use the same color scheme we have used for the other ones. So that means a little bit of Lauren Forest, some Militarum green, some Deathworld Forest, tiny little bit of Kasrkin flesh. Up here, are you? Yep. Kasrkin flesh, which I haven't moved across yet. And where are our shades? Let's go for Biltan green. That will be the wash thing. Now, for metals and woods. Well, let's see. Metals, I think, logical one is going to be lead belcher, of course. We are going to need some sort of flamey tone. So a little bit of Rune Lord brass. Now, oil stain thing, I'm thinking I might add little bits of sort of cacophony purple and Xerius purple for the flames on the flamethrower. And we're definitely going to need some shinier pieces. So the shiny pieces, we will do little bits of Canoptech alloy and some Runefang steel. And now, do any of these have plasma weapons? I think one of them is a plasma weapon, isn't it? Didn't I choose a plasma weapon? Yes, I did. So plasma is very definitely going to be Lutheran blue and some white scar with that. So those are our ones for this evening. I have no idea how successful any of this is going to be, but I do know we're going to give it a try and hope to God it works. So, first thing you got to do is make sure you've got some tissue paper. That's going to be for drying stuff off. Now, I guess we should make sure we're using brushes. We're gonna just give this a quick little dip. And you know what? We're gonna get some nitrile gloves. We're gonna wear the nitriles tonight. So, let's get 2 of these here. That's 1, and that is 2. Is that for real? I finished a box? Apparently so. I have finished that particular box, my first box of nitrile gloves. Which the reason I like using is because then you don't get your oils affecting the, what do you call it? So, yeah. Let's get a nice little bit of this here. And I just realized there's a few pipe parts. So the pipe parts we should probably do as a greyish one. Pipes and cables we'll do as maybe like Dawnstone or no, Storm Vermin Fur. We're gonna go for a darker cable. Yeah, it's gonna be Storm Vermin Fur. A little bit brown, which is fine. So, headset back on. And ooh, Mali is painting up his Death Guard thing. So yes, we're just having a nice little chill one tonight. First thing that we're painting on is going to be the Death World Forest. So let's get a little dab of it onto our wet palette. Single drop. You know what? We're going to be generous and add 2 drops. There we go. 2 drops have been added to our wet palette, and we can just go over and paint those little bits on. So, I suppose what we could do actually, we'll aim this up a little bit, angle this, and let's just grab these here. Yeah, I need to re-angle the camera. So, okay, right, come on, hold the angle properly. Whoop, uh-oh. Yeah, okay, that's not working at all. Damn it. I guess I'm just gonna have to lean way forward when painting tonight. Alright. Well, we're just going to dab a whole pile of our Death World Forest over onto this here. So this here will just do a good little bit of paint over it and try, ooh boy. There we go. This is nicer. Hola, rookie. How are you going? Are ya well? 'Cause you're looking well. How has your week been treating you? Because mine is very much deciding that it doesn't want to cooperate, and I don't like that. Like, the camera is not wanting to sit at the right angle. And it's like, come on man, just sit there nicely. So yeah, there's one done. One shoulder. And let's try and wash that over. Now this other one, we gotta make sure, try and brush it over. It's maybe a little bit wet on the wet palette. A little bit too wet, in fact, I think. But we can work with it. So come on, you bugger. We're just trying to get all the little fine details done. I have a feeling though, we might be better off. I think tonight is possibly going to be a night for using the other lens. Unless I can bring the thing way down. I might be able to bring my camera mount way down and I have it still sat at a nice little angle. We can try that in just a wee second, shall we? So there's a little bit of that, and we're going to try and get into these little sort of recessed pieces as well. Do a little dabbing down onto that, and okay, so there is two arms, kinda. Let me try something here. Let me try and see. Oh boy. Yep, nope, that does not want to play ball. Bugger. Maybe if we angle it like this here and we give it a really good tightening, that actually might have helped. So let's see, if I hold this like this, nope, angle's not right. I think we're gonna have to be zoomed way in. Week's been pretty rough. Big meeting tomorrow and not enough for it. That is a big sad. Is that with the PhD supervisor? Yeah, I have a meeting tomorrow afternoon as well for my job. Which there's really not that much movement over the past month, which is something that's really annoying. But it's like, you know, the way everyone always like plays catch up in January for what they didn't do in December. Yeah, we were still working all through December, and now we're just like having people not responding to our emails and everything. Let's try and get this here. A little bit of white there covered up, and then do these here, and there's right one arm done. Let's try with this here, get a second one. So just try and dab everything on. I think I have overloaded the wet palette, which is very unfortunate. The paint is a little bit on the watery side, which I guess actually suppose we'll have to see what it actually comes out like to determine whether or not that's a problem. So here we go. Let's try these little bits. I want to try and get into all these little recesses and just absolutely paint everything on here. So at this point, oh boy, a couple of little bits there. So that is another arm painted. I've got 10 of these guys to paint. So 10 sets of arms. You may notice this here guy, he's supposed to have like a grenade launcher, which is being two-handed. I have decided this guy is going to be wielding a grenade launcher with one hand, and in the other hand is a plasma pistol, because I thought that sounds like a really cool little design thing to have. You know, like he's, oh no, I need to reload, so I'm going to switch to my sidearm. I'm going to play him though as if he's just using the, what do you call it? Like if I do play a game with the Kasrkin squad, he's going to be treated as though he just has the grenade launcher and not the plasma pistol. Just so that, you know, people can't be like, you can't have multiple different weapon sets. It's like, I know you can't, but at the same time I wanted to paint my fella how I thought he looked cool and assemble him the same way. So let's try and get a little bit pigment down into that, and it looks like we've got most of the white covered there. We just primed it using grey sear, I think it was. Just the spray can, and we only did that earlier today, so it's probably not the best at the minute. I mean, ideally I should have had this done way before, but it's been a rather hectic little bit of time lately. One of my friends has headed off to, well, is getting ready to head off to New Zealand, so I had to have a going away party thing for him, which was really good crack. Got to meet some of his mates that I didn't actually know before, and yeah, very dead on people. Also got to play shuffleboard, which I know what you're thinking, and that's like very much old man kind of game, and yeah, you're probably right. So this here, come on, let's get a good splattering of paint onto this here guy. So, right. This brush, I think, at the end of tonight, is going to be getting a soak with some thinner and then some soap. This one, I think, definitely needs a wee restoration. So there's one arm done on him. And let's try and make sure we get in on that there as well. So there is another little arm done. Gonna wait for that other arm to dry before we go on to the next. Next little arm. Boom. Just absolutely stab this on. Very good for adding your base coat is just to do the stippling motion sort of thing. And then we'll do the camo afterwards, because camo is another important thing. Man's about to become shuffleboard champion. I don't know if I'm going to be that good. I won a couple of the games that were there. There's one of the guys in the office who was very impressively good at it when we were playing. Saw him playing, and he, yeah. Dude definitely has good application of physics. He's also the one that holds the record in the office for the most consecutive miniature basketball throws that went into the net. Like the most consecutive ones without a miss. I think he's on 5 mini basketball in a row with 0 misses. So there's another one. Lovely. Set that off to the side. We'll do this here guy next. And come on then. Good bit of stippling here. And okay, tiny little bit extra. Okay, this guy is ready, I believe. Yep, that's another arm painted. Oop, little bits of folds in the fabric there. That's okay. Grab that, plonk it down. Next little arm. Keeping his armies up his sleeves. But yeah, it's been reasonably alright. We work week and all. Quiet enough, but I have a feeling tomorrow and Friday are going to be quite busy ones, because we're coming up to finals, which like every quarter we basically have a week which is very hectic. It's where we have to make sure we've got all of our things lined up correctly, process, all that sort of stuff. And then I think after we finish it up this time, because I'm going on an extended holiday thing, I want to immediately start the process for next quarterly finals. I want to start that pretty much right away, so that at that point, you know, when I do head away on my wee holiday thing, it doesn't actually affect anything at all, really, which would be nice. I would like it if it's able to run smoothly and feel as though I'm still there, lining stuff up, getting it all put together, all of that kind of stuff, even while I'm away. Because then at that point it'll sort of demonstrate that, yeah, our processes are well underway for optimizations. And as an analyst, that is pretty ideal little situation to be in, when you think you've got everything lined up perfectly. Because then you get to sit back and determine just how perfect it actually is. So there's another one. We now have only a few little arms left to do. This is another guy. This guy is going to be one of the ones who is one-handing a weapon. His other hand is going to be holding a grenade. So you'll get to see that there sort of little thing. So another little arm done there. Good stuff. We've got two people with melta weapons. I think this is a melta gun at least. So let's hope that the codex doesn't say you're not allowed it or anything. I would definitely not like it if the box was like, oh, you're only allowed a max of one of these units per squad. But I don't think it will. Otherwise, why would it give you like two things? Oh, am I going anywhere nice for the wee holiday thing? We are, myself and the partner and her family are going to a wedding in South Africa. So you're heading to South Africa for a few weeks. We've got 3 weeks away. We are going to be going to Cape Town is one of the places, and then to Johannesburg, as well as possibly some other places. It's very, very exciting because I have never actually been to South Africa, and my accent here is probably terrible, probably terrible accent, but you know, we're giving it a go. I won't be doing it when I'm actually in South Africa, because that sounds like the kind of thing that probably would not be what you would want to do, is impersonate the local accents if you are not in fact a local. You know, it'd be a bit like if you had someone going to Belfast. Like, imagine you had an American coming over and they were like, "Oh, hey, I've always wanted to go to Belfast. Oh, what is it you guys love to say in Belfast? Do you guys say, giss a buck, love? Air, love, you're looking gorgeous." You know? Because if I heard an American doing that kind of thing, then I would certainly be like, please, do not do that. So it seems 2 drops of Death Guard or Death World Forest was insufficient. Let's just try and get these last little bits in here. Et voila. So there is another one of those painted. Lovely stuff. We have a little bit remaining here. This arm is going to be a difficult one to do because of the size of it. Not very easy to sort of paint and hold and all of that there, because you're definitely going to be blocking at least one part of it as you're painting. So I have to paint it, wait for it to dry, and then do the other side of it, which is a very unfortunate thing to have to do. So yeah, definitely not exactly a Danny Archer kind of situation there. ARCHER, you know, that is how you do South African, isn't it? If you've watched Blood Diamond at least. Alright, so there's a lot of arms have been done, but not all of them. So we are going to rinse off the brush here, give it a good rinsing, and that has really helped actually. Like the bristles not as separated as they were before. Not as separated, so we can go ahead and plonk another tiny little bit down. I would say we could get away with another 2 drops. Another 2 drops of Death World Forest. So these 2 on the palette. And let us get ready to do the other arms. So notice this here guy, little bit of white there, very obvious. So let's try to make sure that's not so much of a problem. And then we just go ahead and try to get good coverage on his other arm as well. It's actually looking like it's still too thin. So at this point, that might actually end up being an okay little thing for us, because if it is too thin, it's just not going to have as much of a coating, so it's going to almost just be staining it. Which could be cool, because if it looks like it's staining it, then at that point that might end up having the same effect as if we were painting light onto it. You know, the way some people are talented or are able to paint like the illusion of light and shadow and all that there. Not this guy, but you know, if I can use a mistake to give the illusion of skill, then at that point, yay. I mean, using a mistake to give the illusion of skill, I think that generally seems a bit like those bumper stickers that are just like my kids on the honor roll. You know, it's like, hey, you're using a mistake to make it look as though you got skills. Okay, it's entirely possible that, you know, people do have genuine pride in like the accomplishments of their family and all that. So there's one. Let's get this other guy. Boom. And we want to do a good big coverage on this here.
Where am I?
So, we want to try and get all of the little gaps and recesses painted into. And try to make sure the hand is painted. The grenades, I think, are going to end up having to be just metal colored. I think that's what we're going to have to do. So, one arm done. Let's get the other arm, mix the pigment and the basically watery sort of bit in. Just mix the paint together so it's not separated. A little bit of this here on. And come on. Bristles re-separated real quick on this one. But I suppose that makes sense. I should be using my sacrificial brush. I don't actually know why I'm not, to be perfectly honest with you. But let's get a bit more onto the brush. Push it down into all the little bits, all the nooks, all the crannies, all of those little bits. All the Tom Nooks and Brian Cranstons. And the little bits around joint 2. So here we go. There we go. Another 2 arms done. I suppose we should set these ones off to the side just to indicate, yay, those ones are done. Grab a bit more paint, plonk it on, and we'll try and, I want to try and get through as, like, do the arms all basically. The hands are not going to have camo on them, just because the hands, I think, you could argue it's like, no, those are just going to be single solid color gloves. You wouldn't like have camo gloves or anything. You don't really see that in anything. So it's like, yeah, alright, let's just have them be solid color. Maybe go for Lauren Forest or something for them. Or I suppose I could just keep them as base color, but just stain out with Militarum green. And let's see. Oh, dang. Nice. Oh, shit! Hey! Illusion of Normal, how are you going, Sea Dog? Are you well? 'Cause you're looking well. I need to actually set a thing up so that when I get a, like, ping or something, when something happens on TikTok, it notifies me. I get one for YouTube and for Twitch, but TikTok don't have native API integration for a lot of stuff, and it's like, god fucking damn it. So at that point you end up missing out on little bits, but these here, yeah, to give an indication, we're just painting little tiny friendly happy guys tonight. These are, so this is what they will end up looking like. API integration, I can't remember what API stands for, but it's basically a thing that is, it's like how you can connect to something and be able to have things like chat boxes or browser sources, stuff like that. So like, if you were watching on the likes of Twitch or YouTube, on the sidebar I have a chat box that just sort of has chat on it. because yeah, that way, like, it is what you would have in chat box. But TikTok, unfortunately, doesn't allow you to add chat via like Streamlabs or anything in. So I have to have a separate thing, and it means that I can't set it up to automatically ping me whenever there is activity on TikTok. So follow alerts, likes, all of those kinds of things, I have to actually be lucky enough to catch that in time by looking up. Which, if I was playing a game, would be like, hey, I look up a hell of a lot more. But, obviously, when I'm painting little Warhammer figurines, I am a lot less on the ball for looking at chats, all of that kind of stuff, because I just get really enamored by looking at these tiny little things and being able to go, it's like, this is going to look bloody cool when I'm done with it. Because that is my genuine belief, is once these are done, I think these are going to look really fucking cool. So they're probably going to be my favorite Imperial Guard style ones that I'm doing, because I've done like the World War I desert style ones, which were the Death Corps of Krieg. I did the modern-ish desert camo on it, and these here guys are going to be modern-ish style woodland camo. But one of the cool things about it is these guys are dressed like sort of World War II thing. Do I paint competitively? Oh no, nowhere near good enough for that there. Like the competitive painters I know and everything, those guys are just, they are absolutely incredible. Like even the ones in the Warhammer store and all that have only been painting little models for a little bit of time, the work they're producing is absolutely incredible. I don't get all that much time to paint, so the level of detail in some of mine is nowhere near that level of professionalism. Like, this would be an example of my sort of level, you know. That is nowhere near as nice a camouflage pattern. It's very splotchy, it's very you know, not that nice, whereas, you know, this here, I've got it a little bit nicer with the strokes, like using the actual paint brush and all of that there sort of stuff. It's coming out a lot nicer than that. But I will say, one of my favorites that I've done, where is he? Nope, not you. Haha, he's up here. He is one of my favorites. He is a Lord of Contagion. I painted over the course of, I think I spent 3 hours painting him. 3 hours painting him to arrive at this. Oh, camera's just doing its little cycle. Yeah, this guy here. He is my favorite one I've painted. You can see the sort of difference between the gold and the thing. You've got that there. You can see his intestines hanging out and that little bit of goop dripping down. He's got the nice green flames sort of coming out of it, which I think is nifty. And like, yeah, he's one of my favorites. I need to work on my painting of Nurglings a bit more, because that there Nurgling under his foot doesn't look that great. However, one of my other fellas, this guy here, I think I did the Nurgling on him a lot better. You can see sort of the really sore looking pustules on him. Like, he's got those there. They look about ready to burst and all. They're gross. But I really like the Death Guard guys because they're just cute. You know, Death Guard, like, they've got the little Nurglings, and Nurglings are just mischievous. They're just fun. They're like, hey, we want to give you a hug. And it's like, oh, they're friendly. And it's like, well, the reason they want to give a hug is because that's a really effective way of spreading plague and pestilence for them. but still, they're friendly. They want to give hugs. Yes, it's diseased death hugs, but still. There are very few things in Warhammer that want to give hugs. So I have all the patience in the world for little nerdlings, because they are just cute and adorable. But how are ya going anyway, Illusion? I suppose, like, it's cute for me. It is. You know? Like, yeah, I learned a couple of years ago, when I was doing a bit of creative writing, that I very much enjoy a thing called pathos, and it's a bastardization of a portmanteau. It shouldn't actually, like, it doesn't actually have any sense behind it, but the closest way the creator of it described it was, it is a pathos towards what we hate. So it is a desire to see or create works of art which reflect the darker elements of our humanity. So, you know, it's why Lovecraft stuff is so appealing to lots of people, because you don't get to see many things which are tryptophobic. You know, there is that lack of sort of design stuff around that describes the way you write. It's so much more interesting, is my honest opinion, because I find, like, if I enjoy writing something, it's usually going to be extremely dark. It's going to be visceral, you know? When I wrote a sci-fi style thing at one point there was this local sort of magazine thing that was starting out, and they wanted like a weird tales sort of sci-fi thing in it. And they asked me, it's like, hey, would you want to write basically the premise for a thing, just an introduction for a sci-fi story? And I was like, okay, absolutely, I would love to give that a go. So I started writing the premise for it, gave them the submission and all, and they were like, we really like this, but the problem is, we were expecting like a light-hearted sort of sci-fi comedy vibe thing. And I was just like, oh, yeah, you didn't specify comedy. They were like, it's just, you know, you're writing about like these guys that are in power armor. Is it necessary to know how the power armor interacts with their body? And I was like, well, what do you mean? They were like, do you reckon there's a way where you could possibly take out the fact that the sensors for all of this stuff have to basically be drilled into the flesh and the bone? And I was like, I mean, you know, it relies on electrical impulses, you know, it's something that you gotta have. So what, are you just gonna have this all of a sudden just detect from like the mind or something? Is it gonna only interface with the brain? How are you gonna do it? Well, the simple answer is, if you want something like that, you're gonna have it be in the body, you know? You have to have an interface. So yeah, you're gonna have to drill into the spine. And eventually they were just like, okay, yeah, best of luck. And I was like, well, thank you very much. But yeah, that was my thing. Also, hello to Mario as well. How is Mario doing? How is the tattoo practice of Mario coming along? I saw a little bit of the practicing. Were you practicing on, are you like working on orange peels or anything? Or orange skin, I guess? Well, not orange skin. It's like, yeah, it is the thing. You do need the details. Details are extremely important for all stuff, because if you want something to be believable, you have to take the time to flesh out the details. Otherwise, you're essentially saying, But trust us, magic. Rookie, there's you thinking Lovecraft was popular because of the tentacles. Maybe in certain cultures, you know, that might be true in certain cultures. I can't say it's definitely not popular because of the tentacles. But I think the tentacle design in thing, tattoo practice is awesome. Practice on fake skin and you're covered. Very nice. Props to you. Sacrificing up flesh for the purposes. Tentacles help, just saying. Well, I know a few people whose Amazon baskets have previously alluded to that fact in the past. Although I suppose that depends what you're talking about helping with. Just trying to get a single tiny dot. Okay, there we go. That's all we need, is just a tiny little bit of Lauren Forest. This is our one. And the reason for that there is we are going to be swapping to our superfine brush. This here little boy. So this guy, we're going to only be sort of doing little bits and pieces around the arms. So this here, I don't know how much it is showing up because of the thing. Maybe if I change the color temperature on it. Yeah, it's kind of still being hidden a little bit from it. Is VRing? Ooh, a little bit of VR. VR is good. I've always been intrigued by trying to figure out if there is a way I can get it to interface with like sort of Twitch chat and all. I suppose I could get like a text-to-speech thing that reads out what is happening, like what is being said in chats. And then I could be playing stuff like Resident Evil 7 in VR on streams and all, which could be an interesting one. But haven't really sat down with it fully and tried to flesh out the details. There's really not much patterning you can do sort of on the arms for these. I'm trying to just do fine little slashes of things so that we can sort of see, you know, that there. We've got these here. We will get a little bit of Kasrkin thing going. Yeah, VR, like I bought the VR, like PlayStation VR headset. I've had that thing for Jesus since I think Resident Evil 7 was reasonably newish when I first got it. And I never properly sat down to give it a try. And I was like, okay, that's... Why did I spend all those gift vouchers on it though? Although, to be fair, the gift vouchers were stuff I got for selling a whole pile of phones in my old job. So I got a whole pile of like Amazon gift vouchers and everything. And I was like, yay! Free shit that I can redeem. So I got like TVs for the house I was in at the time. Got the TVs, got the PlayStation VR, got the PS4. So like, yeah, I sold a lot of hardware that month. A lot of hardware that month. Because it was actually quite amusing. It was whenever the new Huawei phones had come out at that time. I was told it's like, yeah, if you sell like Huawei phones, then at that point, we're going to give you bonuses and everything. Well, no, Huawei are going to give you bonuses. And I was like, that's pretty nifty. I like the sound of that. That's pretty cool. And it turned out it was actually cheaper. I was able to do deals cheaper by selling someone a Huawei entry-level phone with a SIM plan than I was able to sell just a SIM only. And I was like, yep, show me the logic there. But either way, it got me a whole pile of free shit, so it was like, fuck yeah. And yes, nitrile gloves, because of course, you got to. Got to be doing that there. Right, a little bit of this here. And oh, you can hear the doggo outside. Free shit is good. I like free shit. Even to this day, I still like free shit. Taking just a little bit off of our thing, putting it into the wet palette. I need to decant more of my paints into these here dropper bottles. It's just a problem of I can only decant like 8 at a time, I think. And I have like 100 paints, and it's like a half an hour to fully decant. So I was like, God damn it. We're going to take a little bit of paint on here, and we're going to just do small little strokes. And these small strokes will all be in service of trying to give the illusion of a camouflage, which I think actually, as I'm painting it, the little small bits really do build up and make a difference. So between these here and then doing our wash over at the end, yeah, we're gonna have some nice ones. So let's set that one off to the side. Do our next one with the little brown details. And someone just played a bang sound on someone else's stream. I figured it's like, yeah, since I'm just doing painting, I also have on my monitor headphones, I have another streamer who is working on some Death Guard stuff. A guy called O'Malley, very lovely fella. O'Malley667, lovely fella, tremendous painter, and also extremely good with Death Guard fellas who are also... Death Guard are the ones that, like my 2 favourite ones that I showed, those are Death Guard guys. And I'm very much a fan of the sculpts for those models. So this here, we can kind of see where is our focus point. You can see the little bits of camouflage there. Oh, cheers for the shares as well. Oh, what are we painting? So these here are the arms that are going to go alongside these guys. So each of these guys is going to have arms that is going to be holding weapons. So these here, there will be a little bit of sort of adjusting to do, but this will be an example of what it'll be like. So, you know, we paint the arms, put them on, and then at that point, this is a technique known as a subassembly. It is all about trying to get the best coverage you possibly can on stuff, and it's sometimes very tricky to get a good coverage whenever it's assembled. So I've started taking to the hobby of putting little bits together and painting the little fine details and then putting it all together at the end, because it's nicer that way. I think it's more relaxing, I find sometimes, although I think I preferred the previous one, because my previous ones were assembling the bodies. This here, we're just doing the little bits of the arms. So, you know, it's less sort of obvious what it's all turning out like, but it will come together. I do promise that. It will come together. There is a plan for it, and it will make sense. So it will. So there's a few little bits. Little... Ooh, that was quite a hefty one there. Oh dang. And there we go, another arm with the woodland camo. So we've got a few other ones to do. We're just going to try and rebind the bristles because it's starting to, I think they call it hooking or something, which I do appreciate. Yes, it does sound very dodgy when you say it's like, oh no, my brush started hooking. Or especially whenever, like, if you're a bit like me, sometimes you might say things as though you're doing them when you're referring to an object that you're controlling. So you might say it's like, oh, I'm going off the track. If you're playing something like Mario Kart, you yourself are not going off the track, however, the character you control is. And I'm sure you can understand the difficulty if you're one person that was like that and was saying things like, oh, I'm hooking, or oh, I'm starting to hook. It would be very awkward and difficult to explain. So here's little bits there. A couple more of these guys and then we can move on to painting the weapons, etc. So there's one. And two. There's his little bits on there. Let's try and get another little bit along here. Okay, that was a mistake how that bit came out, but it looks very nice and camouflagey, so I'm sticking with it. Now, Grenadier, he needs his little bit. And another arm. Sorted. A little bit of this here now. This brush is also going to need rebound at the end. Little bits on here. And there's two arms done there. We're down to the last two of these here, then we'll start the weapons. Actually, no. Before we start the weapons, we need to do our washes over it. So here we go. Little pieces here. Another one and final one. Then we'll do our wash. For our wash, we need Biltan Green, which is a shade. We're going to use just a little bit of it. And okay, dokos. Alrighty. That's those. So we'll fix our brush. Gotta switch to the tablet, not a problem at all. And let's make sure we give good wash of the brush. I think at the end of tonight I should maybe use some airbrush cleaner, which basically is just a paint thinner to try and repair some of these. So, right. This here is also hooked a little bit. So let's get my secondary set of brushes. I have some ones in here that are very, very good for some of the bits. So let's take this here. Angled spot will not use. Yeah, we'll keep this guy at the ready. This brush, you're going back into here. And we also have another set of brushes, but I can't remember where I left them. Who knows? We'll figure it out in time. They'll appear when I'm not looking for them. Guaranteed. So, right, Biltan Green. Do I paint and play the game with the figures? I don't really play that much. Hey, EST. I'm off the track. I am always off the track. How are you going, EST? And also, Francois Marion over on the Tube of You. How are the both of yous? Yeah, I've only ever actually played one. Well, I suppose technically at this point I've played two. I've played 2 games of Warhammer. But both of them were of Kill Team, which is the smaller scale one. So, right, let's go ahead and wash over this here. Now, this shade will sink into the recesses, so you might be able to see as I'm painting over it, it's changing the color a little bit. So that's the difference between that and that. One of the things though is it's quite liquid, so you can easily fix it if you're doing different things, which I'm definitely going to need to fix little bits of it. But the bits I have to fix, we don't have to worry too much about, because they will just be the likes of the weapon here. The weapon needs painted entirely. And there we go. So, shades you can use very sensibly. I just don't. I tend to use them largely as, oh, this here is what I'm going to add to slightly stain the color I've got working on. Oh, ad has started on Twitch. Well enough there. Very glad to hear that, Francois. How the heck, what the heck are all of these little, like, roses and all of that there stuff? I am very confused. I've seen them before. Is that like is that the equivalent of like cheers and bits and all, but like the TikTok equivalent of it? Because if so, for the love of God, jeepers, oh, save your money and spend it on yourself. Spend that money on yourself. Spend that on your mates, your loved ones, on getting a takeaway, all of that kind of stuff. Do not ever feel obligated or like it is necessary to ever be gifting anything across to me. While I appreciate the support, I also appreciate that, yeah, if you want to spend that money instead on yourself, do that. I am streaming my paintings so that it keeps me accountable and it keeps me going and painting my own stuff. So that, yeah, it's basically like the reason I stream the Warhammer paints is so that I can be like, yay, I managed to paint these things this month, this year, this decade. You know, since I started doing it on stream, I'm much more consistent with my paintings. There are a lot more things I've painted as a result of streaming than I did beforehand, because I don't know if you can see sort of the what they often call the pile of shame. There's a whole pile of stuff in the back there. I've got all of those guys who are my Death Guard Poxwalkers. I've got my dragon there. I've got this, which I'm looking forward to getting around to painting at one point. This is one from the first Age of Sigmar box I ever bought. I bought this box alongside a good mate of mine, Rookie, who's actually over on the Twitch chat at the minute. But whenever I needed a whole, like, I needed to bring a purchase up to a certain value in order to get some additional free things from it. So it was just like, oh, okay, what else should I look at? I saw there was a thing called the Khorne Chaos Goreblade Warband, I think. And I was like, that sounds fantastic. I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, this is the stuff I got alongside Rookie way back when. And it was a sign at that point, because I was just like, oh my god, I've been looking for these units for ages and ages and ages, because they were so much fun to paint. Like, I love them for painting and all. They are definitely my favorite sort of guys. And it was like, yep, that is the sign right there. And yeah, added to basket, purchased, and had a fantastic time painting some of the ones I've already painted, and I know I'm going to have a fantastic time painting some of the ones I haven't already painted. So these here, yeah, I'll show you side by side. You can see the difference in the color there. One looks much more military, much more, and that is a good thing. So you know what, we're actually just gonna be really aggressive with the stippling on this here. But the knitting pile of shame, I have heard, is also a thing. Warhammer, knitting, any creative hobby, it's really easy to end up with a pile of shame. Like Photoshop, a whole pile of people I know that do like creative graphic design and everything, they have a Photoshop pile of shame, which quite often features 10 different versions of the word final, because that's one of the things I know about creative like designers. The word final is very much not as final as it is in our consideration. You know, we would think it's like, oh, this is the final, but then at that point it's like, oh, this is the final, until you think of the next change you want to make to it. And then at that point that becomes the new final, and then there's a new final after that, and a new final after that, and it's just endless. There is no final, which I kind of appreciate for them. I'm just like, yeah, there's so many models where I should want to do more, but then I'm just like, no, it's good enough. That's why I could never be the competitive painter ones, because I get the models to where I like them and they're good enough. But for those competitive things, like, yeah, the word's good enough, that doesn't matter. Good enough just means it's like, yeah, that hasn't done. Some of the people, there's one guy I know, he only paints one model of his a year, and he enters it into Golden Demon, but he spends probably about 5 months working on this one model, and whenever it's put together and assembled and all, it's like, holy crap on a cracker. Yeah, he doesn't go for good enough, he goes for perfect. And it shows. It really does show the work he does. So a little bit more of this, and we're trying to push this down across and in. Let's get a little bit more onto here. Get that onto that. Now we'll get a little bit more here, and we're going to brush these here. Push it all down into the recesses, all of this kind of stuff. And oh, illusion. There is also one thing that I think you might enjoy the sound of. There is, I saw like the Ulster Museum, they have like a Valentine's night thing that seems quite cool, because you can get, yeah, he only paints one a year, but geez, like the ones he does, you look at them and some of them you're just like, this is more impressive than anything on a canvas. The level of detail, like the lighting on them. There was one of them he did a couple of years ago, I think, and the flame on it illuminates the entire thing. Like, there's a flame, but it shows the shadow and all, not just the flame and the light bits. He gets all of the shadows, all of those little highlights and lowlights, all those things together, and it's incredible, the quality of it. I must actually ask him if he still has any pictures of it. It was on his Discord at one point, but I haven't actually checked in on that one in a little bit, mostly because I haven't had that much sort of to display my own work. So it was like, yeah, his stuff always makes me want to paint more and paint better, and then I don't. I mean, I paint better than I did before. Every time I paint one of these, I improve just a little bit. But, you know, I don't get to paint that many. But yeah, the thing in Ulster Museum, it's like a date night type thing they're doing, where you go and they've got like a bath bomb making workshop or something. They've got like a coding workshop that teaches you about like how to code so that you can, I think it's to get your computer to be able to send a text message or something that says like love you or something. I don't know the details for it exactly. I'm gonna actually swap, so a couple of these guys are gonna have Militarum Green, which is a contrast. Ooh boy. A little bit too much came out there. Yeah, that's nope. That's a decisive nope on that. Yeah, so this Militarum Green might actually be a little bit better on some of these guys. We'll see. We'll figure it out. It's a contrast paint, so, you know, it'll be more pigment to it. And that's why we're going to use a lot less of it. And we're going to try and brush it across and all. Oh boy. This here, I think, actually, it does look kind of nice, this Militarum Green. So we're going to try and brush this. It's a lot less hyper green. I can understand why this is called a Militarum Green, because it is a much darker sort of one. Gives a much more militaristic sort of thing, because it doesn't create a super green highlight or anything like that. Instead, it has that dark shade for the lowlights. So yeah, digging this. Much better. And it still allows that stuff to go through. One day you're going to finish your models. One day. But you know something? We're all one day going to finish our models, or our models are going to one day finish us. That's my belief. If I don't paint all of these models and have them battle ready, then at that point, if toys come to life in a Toy Story-esque storyline, they're all going to be so mad at me that they are going to wipe us out. So that's why I always try and make sure my pile of shame gets a little bit smaller, even though I still keep buying more crap. So I fail that objective a lot of times. Here's another, and we've got 2 more to do. But yeah, if I remember right, you had the Stormcasts in that box. Yeah, because that box was Stormcast Eternals versus the Corn Fellows, the Cornflakes. And it was like, Stormcasts are okay, but I preferred the designs of like the Age of Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar kind of guys to the Stormcasts. Stormcasts just, they don't have that same motif to me. I prefer something that is very decisively human, such as, where is he? This guy. This guy, very human-sized. Very human-sized, because this is a human, and then you just got a PC of your own, Very nice. Is it a gaming one? Are you going to be beginning to play lots and lots of games, such as The Forest, which is a fun one? Yeah, you can see the difference in scope between these two. The scale or something. Actually, there's not that much of a difference in height. There's a difference in width, for sure. One's much more muscular. One's just a tall guy. He's just a little tall, goofy angel. But, yeah, I'm trying to think what else there was. Oh yeah, I think they also have like a temporary, or you can get like a temporary tattoo thing, or you can get like a permanent tattoo thing at the Ulster Museum thing. I think it's like a tenner for the tickets. And it was just as you were in chat tonight, I was just like, oh yeah, that seems like the kind of thing that I imagine yourself and Mario would enjoy. I am trying to convince the other half to also want to head with it. We were going to be going to this lovely Southern African restaurant. We've been there before, but we were going to go back for a double date with a couple of her mates. And then her mates were just like, hey, why don't we do like a Valentine's double date? And it's just like, well, why not just like yous go on a date for for your Valentine's, and we'll go on a date for our Valentine's. And I'm not massive on double dates. They always feel performative to me. It's like, yeah, like, okay, congratulations, yous love each other and all. That's really nice that yous have that, but I don't necessarily want to see that. It's, yeah. Then again, I'm also just weird with affection in general. You know, I mean, you're talking to a guy who only within the past couple of years, whenever I get a phone call from my parents, and it's only because of hearing it from the other half's family and all, they always finish a phone call. No matter what the content of it is, they could be yelling and screaming, but the last thing they will say on the call is always, love you. And it's like, that's adorable. And then I find it was because of 8 Simple Rules. And I was just like, oh yeah, that was a rough episode. Or like the last thing she says to her dad, I think it was like, I think she says something like, I hate you or something. That's the last thing she says to her dad. And then like the actor that played the dad passed away. And it was just like, ooh. You once sang Teenage Dirtbag at a funeral? Appropriate behavior, not our strong point. Yeah, appropriate behavior is just, you know, there's one thing I learned from someone I used to date, and it was that the Germans have a word, and the word is Witzelsucht. So Witzelsucht sounds nice. It basically equates to the compulsion to make a joke at an inappropriate time. And it was like, not even like a, oh, that's just levity or facetiousness or something. It was like, no, the compulsion. I was like, oh, the compulsion, like this is you have no choice, you will do this kind of thing. And I just remember as soon as that popped up, because we were looking at words that had no direct sort of English translation, that one popped up. And I just remember everyone in the room just going, it's like, that's you, Mark, that's you. And I was like, what do you mean? They were just like, yeah, you will always make a joke. And it will get a laugh a good few times, but there's also plenty of times where it's just like, you can just sit and allow people to have feelings. It was like, but feelings are awkward. You know? Feelings are feely, you know? They feel like feelings. So what if I don't want that? So now we're on to the tricky biscuit part of this here, which is going to be the weapons. So for our weapons, I have just put a little bit of lead belcher onto the wet palette here, and I'm just going to be taking this and doing a good bit of coverage across the weapons. So lead belcher is a metallic one, and possibly my favorite metallic one. Oh, you still have some of the Chaos Boys? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, yeah, if you do ever decide you want to paint them, then at that point, by all means, please, like, feel free. It's not just, like, I have those guys functionally back. So, if you do wish to, if it gets you into Warhammer, and then you decide that you want to occasionally go to the Warhammer store after work, and you want to book in a table, and we'll sit down and we'll just catch up and paint Warhammer figurines, then at that point, you know, I guess, sure, I could probably do that. I've already had a couple of people from the office converted into the hobby of Warhammer, and I absolutely love it. Because, yeah, we ran like our Summer Games Week thing last year, and it was all about, yeah, so here's how you paint Warhammer stuff. Since then, 4 separate people have been like, oh yeah, so I got my first Warhammer box. Nearly all of them went for Space Marines. And I was just like, that's pretty damn cool. And then one of them was just like, I was gonna like go for the Ultramarines one and just paint them the blue, but then I decided not to. And he showed me the paints he had picked for it instead, and they were all like vibrant pink, like vibrant, super pink. And I was like, that is incredible. I absolutely love that, because I am also a fan of pink Marines. Big fan of pink Marines. Am I making Mario want to start with like painting the Warhammers again? Did Mario used to paint Warhammers? Because if so, very nice. What did he used to paint? I very much approve of more and more people getting into it. I actually saw there's that like comedian fella, is it like Josh Ramsey or something you call him? It's like is he Newcastle or something? He's like a Geordie or something. And he had started painting Warhammer figurines. And his wife was not the most impressed because she was trying to cook. And I was just like, well, yeah, but the dude's painting, yes, he's painting an Ultramarine, but still, can't blame the guy for painting an Ultramarine. He just doesn't know about the best chapters yet. You know, such as the Black Templars, you know? Type of brain injury causes you to laugh or cry at inappropriate times. Hippocampus regulates emotional expression. When it becomes damaged, people become unable to emote normally. Pseudobulbar effect. That is quite an interesting one, Francois. Are you a connoisseur of the old brain? You a neuro? I mean, obviously you don't have to be like a neuroscientist to be interested in that stuff, but knowing about the brain generally implies that people have an interest in some things to do with it. And I am always in favor of people learning about the human brain. Trying to get the little bits into here, and haha, that there, I don't know if you can quite see it. You are a neuroscientist? Oh, very interesting. Yes! Look at that right there. That there got the handle done. He actually did it competitively as a teenager. Ooh, very nice. I mean, like, I am pretty sure I could probably at some point try and... I mean, actually, you know what? I know the staff pretty well in the Warhammer store. If I said to them, hey, listen, can I get like a couple of sample models? Then at that point, they'd probably just be like, yeah, absolutely. They give them out as well to just anyone that's looking to sort of start into it. I got a couple of ones. Actually, I got my... I guess she is kind of my boss still, in a way. Like, she is higher up than me in the company, although she is on a different workflow and all now. Like, but she was originally my team lead and client account manager thing. Lovely person. And she saw me getting into it at one point and was just like, oh yeah, so Mark started painting some of these things, and little did I realize her husband used to be super into it as a hobby, and since then he saw the ones I was painting and was just like, I need to buy another box. So he bought another box. If you ever get into painting seriously, then you'll let me know. That's not a problem, Ricky. I mean, I'm very hyper-focusy as a person. You know, I will pick a hobby and be super into a hobby, which apparently, like, some ones have said from the amount of times where I walk into a room and will just be like, what am I doing in this room? Some ones have speculated it could be emblematic of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, good old ADHD, but never been diagnosed. But yeah, that was one of the things I found was I'm very much an all or nothing kind of guy with some hobbies, and Warhammer has very much become my all hobby. So right, we got that little bit. You know what, we're gonna stick with this here plasma gun. We're gonna stick with it for just a little minute longer, because what I want is to see, can I make the plasma look shiny? So we're going to take just a teeny little bit of white scar, because white scar, you can't really get much lighter as a paint than white scar. And we're going to paint it across the little bits, the coils for the plasma weapon. And we're going to try and, yep, we're going to need a little bit more. What I want for this here is this to be nice and shiny and white, so that when I paint a little bit of blue over it, this here, a little bit more white, and we'll just do sort of back and forth motion on it. So that's quite a shiny white on that. Let's try and get a little bit into the other side of it here. And yeah, we're not thinning it. We really should be thinning it, but we're not entirely at the moment because I don't mind too much. And right, so there we have the bright, vibrant, shiny white color there. And we're going to try a little bit of blue with it. So, a little bit of blue. Don't worry, it wasn't a paint I knocked over. It was just one of those little squashes you get from, what do you call it, from Lidl. You know the wee squeezy ones you can put into the thing? Because I absolutely love that stuff. I always make sure my work backpack has some of it in. So, right, there we go. A little bit of that there blue, and we're going to just try and mix it together just a little bit. And now, so into here, we're going to so there's a little bit of blue to it. We'll go along the top end of it as well. Get a little bit more loaded onto our brush. And we're trying to just get little, like the layer paint, we've washed it down a little bit so that hopefully the white will still allow it to be nice and vibrant. So, right, come along here. And now we just take a little bit of this here, and we're going to wash it over just while we've still got a little bit there. So I want to try and get the white completely removed out of the corners. So we're pushing it in and we're going these sort of sharp angles, and I guess yeah, along the top end here, I've kind of done a piss poor job with the blue. But it's not my worst. It'll definitely need touching up over time, but still, that's something. So there's a plasma weapon done. And that is, I guess, what we could do is let's do a little bit of Lauren Forest. And the Lauren Forest we're going to do for the sling. So let's try and get this here, and then we're going to finish up with this here. So this here, you can see we're just trying to wash it along the ways. Try and get a good coverage of green on this. Want to make sure we don't have it too white or anything, so good coverage. Push it across the whole thing, and then a little bit down into here and into here, and then we flip it over. We'll do the underside of this little bit. Boom. Now, that is us prepped with one person's armor and weapons. So who is going to be the one we're going to pop it all onto? 100 times it looks so fiddly. You think so. You think it'd be fiddly, but so this is my hand. Like sort of, let's zoom it out a bit. You can see not very steady. Really not very steady. However, other hand is also not very steady. So, pop your elbows down and have your palm rested against the thing. Really, not a great deal of movement at all. And when there is, you're already holding the thing, so your shake counteracts your shake. And right, we're gonna have to pick who is going to be the guy that wields this. So, let's see, do we go for this here guy? Let's see, let's test and see from his arms. Let's see. It could be this guy. It absolutely could be this guy with his like thing. So maybe, yeah, it could be this guy, right? Or it could be, who should we go for? I just need to look until I find the right looking guy. I think this is the right looking guy. This guy's arms don't seem to want to be the way I want them to. Yeah, I don't think it's this guy, just from the way he's... Yeah, definitely not this guy. This guy's arms, still also a little bit fiddly. Doesn't fit him, so he's a no. This guy, oh, guy not wearing a helmet. I think this guy who's not wearing a helmet is the guy. So let's get our glue and we're going to assemble. So a little bit of that there, and we're going to apply a good little bit onto each of these here pieces. Lovely. And we're gonna have this guy holding his weapon a little bit sort of higher, a little bit higher, as though he's sort of, I mean, let's adjust the angle or adjust the focus. So yeah, you can see he looks like he's sort of swinging it almost as though he's maybe doing some kind of a melee thing with it. We're just holding that in place until the thing is done, so. And haha. Right, so this guy here, yep. He's got his weapon held like that, so we'll have to paint his face a separate time, I think is going to be the reality of it. His sling though, and his plasma weapon. Actually, you know something? The plasma weapon, when you just see it from the side or something, and not even from the top, it's not horrendous. But from the side, when you see it like that, that's a nice glow to the plasma. So I think I'll definitely have to do a little bit of a tweak with that. And maybe do a really super thinned down blue, so it's almost like a glaze thing and just shines like that. How did I not realize there was a stupid little robot that was trying to like give messages? How did I... Industrious Fanny. Yeah, can't believe that. Whoopsie-daisy. Apologies to everyone on Twitch. I didn't ban the fucking robot. didn't ban the robot, but it's okay. It's banned now. So, meantime, I am going to wrap it up for the evening. I'm going to lift off the hat. I'm also going to let down my hair for the evening, and that is going to be me for tonight. So I've got the arms done on those. I might do the painting of the weapons off stream or something, who knows. So God knows what next week's Warhammer models are going to be, because I sure don't. It could be trying to make a little bit more progress on our Toxophage, who is definitely a very grumpy boy. He's also got, you can see the little sort of veins bulging and all. So this guy is one that could be one we work on. Trying to do like the chitin in a blue one with a sort of white tone to it to match. Where is the fella? Haha. To match this guy we've done before, because they're on an icy sort of place, and he's got a little skull by a pool of acid, so you know, nice friendly little fella. You can tell he loves giving kisses from the very disgusting little maw on him there. He's also been giving people hugs, as you can see. He's gross. So maybe it'll be a Tyranid. Or maybe it'll be a Space Marine, maybe it'll be... God knows. Could be an Orc, maybe? Could be one of our Chaos boys. Maybe it could actually be a start on, what do you call him? The very responsible dog owner who keeps his doggo. So it might be that, but either way, we'll figure it out for next week, and I might even post it on the Instagram stories, YouTube shorts and all beforehand to give you an idea of what you can expect to see. Ooh, it could be Skaven from Skaventide. It could be. But either way, I will figure it out. Meantime, have yourself a wonderful rest of your evening. I will be back on Friday, where we're going to be playing Fallout 4 in the afternoons, unarmed only. Or, in the evening time, we'll also be doing a little bit more Red Dead Redemption 2. So, I will see you when I see you. If you're watching this over on good old twitch.tv, we're going to head on over and do a raid on O'Malley 667. Good lad, and he is currently painting some of his little fellas. So take care. I shall see you on Friday or on Saturday, where we'll be doing Dark Souls 2. Bye bye now. Take care then.